Looking forward to this one, as are the good folks here at Greensboro, as the Duke Blue Devils take on the North Carolina State Wolfpack for the right to advance to a semifinal tomorrow night. Let's take a look at the starting lineups, beginning with the Wolfpack. Complimenting the 34 points of Cat Barber last night, the 21 that Trevor Lacey had, second team All-ACC during the regular season, and a lot of big guys. Mark Gottfried can rotate in and out of the game to try their luck with Jahlil Okafor. For the Blue Devils, again, the smaller lineup that Mike Krzyzewski's gone to in recent weeks. So Emil Jefferson comes off the bench. Matt Jones is in the lineup. Justice Winslow is in effect the four-man. And Coach K said it before the game tonight. He said Jahlil Okafor is their best player, but Quinn Cook has been their most valuable player. The seniors had an outstanding season. For Coach K, whose team only has 8 scholarship players right now, the last time they won the ACC tournament was here in Greensboro in 2011. Mark Gottfried's 4th year as head coach at NC State, and Jay, he's guided them into the semifinals in each of the first 3. Pretty impressive considering the depth of this conference.
Well, Mark Gottfried's got to feel very confident in the team he's putting on the floor, because this team can score, and they can score from multiple positions. Their big guys will guard, rebound, and they set great screens for their scorers.
The regular season game between these two was January the 11th in Raleigh. NC State won it 87-75. They shot the lights out, made 10 of 16 threes.
Here's what's going to be a big factor in this game. A double team off of Justice Winslow. It's kicked back out. If he can knock that shot down all game long, that's going to change the way NC State goes after Jahlil Okafor.
And they try to attack Barber early. He gets it over. The wing three is very short for Ralston Turner, who didn't have a good night shooting the ball last night, went 0 for 5 from three-point range.
And a quick trigger for Turner off of one pass.
The double on Okafor.
Okafor dribbles out of it. A much better job by NC State.
Jones short on the 3. Rebound Winslow, lost it out of bounds and belongs to State.
Jahlil Okafor has done a good job throughout the course of the season of handling double teams. A little 2-2-1 three-quarter court pressure right now by Duke, slowing the advance, trying to get it out of the hands of Cat Barber.
You haven't seen Barber as quick end-to-end perhaps as any player in the country, and he was simply magnificent last night in an 81-70 win over Pittsburgh. He had 34 points, made 4 of his 5 threes, and drove into the lane at will and didn't miss a free throw. It was 12 for 12 from the free throw line.
I was about to say, if you haven't seen Cat Barber, it's because he's that fast and quick. He's giving a little zone look here, 2-3.
Lacey forces. And it'll belong to the Blue Devils.
Not the kind of start that NC State wanted to get off to.
You expect to see a lot of zone from Duke tonight?
I think they'll switch it up. But I think what they really want to do is establish that it's going to be difficult to get into the paint. They don't want to give up early paint touches. Boy, did Jahlil Okafor take a boo and just toss him back.
Winslow with the drive, and he'll head to the free throw line. Justice Winslow, over the last 6-7 weeks, has been playing some great basketball. Suffered a shoulder and then a rib injury in the middle of the season. But since getting a little bit healthier, and Coach Case is just learning to play with the discomfort of the rib injury, he's been on fire. He's averaged better than 15 points per game in his last 12.
Well, he's got a matchup right now with Freeman that he can take advantage of. Freeman, basically a 4-man, just gave a little up fake and was able to drive that ball to the right. Now Winslow's a lefty, but that's a matchup he's going to be able to shoot over and drive.
A much different look for Duke over the last few weeks, with Winslow moving to the 4, Matt Jones starting at the 3, the dismissal of Rashid Suleiman, so down to 8 scholarship players. But the Blue Devils may be playing their best basketball this season, same as State.
2-3 zone, it's extended, and that's the area where they can get the ball. The question is, can Freeman do anything with it there?
He is not a scorer in there to defend, rebound, and set screens, all 3 of which he does very well. Bowie swings it.
Wow, are you kidding? But Matt Jones is a really good defender. And Cat Barber, talk about stopping on a dime. Like, this is where a coach says, man, stay in front of him. Stay in front of him. That's one of the best perimeter defenders in the ACC, trying to stay in front of Cat Barber.
Quinn Cook is on him now. You figure that Cook, Jones, both Joneses will defend him at time. Another air ball on a 3 by Lacey.
No rhythm right now for NC State.
Cook the kick. Tyus Jones gets in, floater. Okafor with a putback and a 7-0 start for Duke.
Duke's just giving little up fakes, and NC State getting off balance and giving up the paint. You get into rotation, it makes rebounding that much more difficult.
And a steal. Tyus Jones, Quinn Cook, and he missed the layup.
Well, Mark Gottfried was just about to call a timeout, then realized, well, I don't need to. But they got lucky there.
And a foul on Winslow.
Anytime you get put into rotation, that means you've got rotation rebounding. Now all of a sudden somebody's got to step in and block out Jahlil Okafor. Nobody does. And you give him a free run to the basket. That's a high percentage shot, Dan Sherman.
And finally one will go down. It's Turner putting State on the board.
Well, Ralston Turner, that's his 85th three on the season. And he's a guy that can get hot in a hurry. Didn't play well against Pittsburgh. It was all Cat Barber and Trevor Lacey. But if he starts knocking some shots down, that's going to help the offensive outlook for NC State.
Okafor inside the reverse as he goes right around Abu and lays it in. And Mark Gottfried is going to make a change. B.J. Anya is going to be coming into the game. The biggest player Mark Gottfried has will try to guard Okafor. Barber, the pull-up from 15, well short. Winslow with a nice outlet to Cook. Cook into the chest of Lacey, and it'll be a block on Trevor Lacey, who is hopping mad. And Roger Ayers, one of the officials, is going to try to get him to keep his emotions under control.
Well, he didn't do anything wrong. He just ran away. Nothing wrong with running away. That's a tough one. With the way charges are handed out in today's game, that's a tough one. I happen to think it's the right call, and all of them should be called that way. But you can understand the frustration.
Yeah. At the line, Cook, and here comes Anya as Lacey and Brian Kersey talk it over. So B.J. Anya's job right now is to put the body on Jahlil Okafor. Okafor 6'11", 270. Anya's 6'9", 295.
More of a fair fight, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
But any time, that means Anya, if he gets screened, is going to have to get through that screen. Because it's really a little on big screen, and you don't want to have to switch that.
Ball pressure by Cook. Pounding Lacey. Asked to welcome in the third member of our team tonight, the coach, Seth Greenberg. Coach?
You know, we talked to Mike Krzyzewski before the game. We asked him, how are you going to contain that backcourt of NC State? He said, I can't tell you. You'll just have to see it. Well, what has he done? They've extended their defense with a tempo press. They've gone back zone. They basically disrupted the rhythm of this NC State offense. Great adjustment by Mike Krzyzewski to start the game.
Well, it wasn't that he couldn't tell you, Seth. He didn't think you'd understand.
And NC State just 1 for 5 in the early going. This is one of the best offensive teams in the ACC. They've also turned it over a couple of times, thrown up a couple of air balls, and with just the exception of a moment here or there, Cat Barber's not been able to do the kind of things that he did last night against Pittsburgh.
Well, that 2-2-1 three-quarter court pressure has slowed the advance, made him give the ball up. He hadn't broken the pressure all by himself, and that's a matchup with Freeman on Winslow that Winslow is looking to take advantage of. He shot it out of the double team. Now he's driving it.
Freeman to Anya. Anya with a jump hook, and it drops over Okafor.
Well, NC State much more patient to get the ball into the paint. That's the first, not only the first basket NC State's gotten in the paint, that's the first touch they've gotten in the painted area.
Again, Winslow, is he going to be the go-to guy because of this matchup? He'll miss the three. Rebound Okafor. And he's just going to go right at Anya and lay it in.
Okafor's feet are so good. And how about that? Just going to his left hand and shooting over the best shot blocker in the ACC. Really, Seth made the point that NC State's rhythm has been affected by the way Duke is defended.
Turner knocks one down from the baseline.
One thing that North Carolina State has going for it, this team can make challenge shots. And it's a team that can get hot in a hurry, especially Turner and Lacey.
Brooks, second team All-ACC. Okafor, the ACC Player of the Year. He's going to drive on Anya again. Help from Freeman. Now Winslow baseline. Back to Okafor.
Great hands.
Surrounded, and finally it's taken away from him.
Well, you see that Duke is trying to get the ball to Okafor in the middle of the floor where he can't be doubled. And Turner is starting to take over.
Austin Turner with a back-to-back field goals, and Okafor maybe a little bit gimpy as he heads back up the court.
Remember, he twisted that ankle badly against North Carolina in the first meeting in February. That's a foul.
Yeah. Anya clobbers Winslow.
That's how you get your money's worth. See, Okafor the last time down when he caught that ball looked like he tweaked that ankle just a bit. But he'll power through it. The way he powered through that ankle injury in the first North Carolina game, thought it was amazing he came back. In fact, the Duke staff wasn't sure that it was that bad of an injury given the fact that he came back from it so quickly.
He actually sat out the next game against Clemson and then returned. One of 5 Duke players to sustain some sort of a twisted or sprained left ankle in the last 3 weeks. Okafor is the most significant. And Winslow off to a great start tonight. He's a tough cover.
Well, he's been attacking. And a guy that coming into this game of the last 12 games had half of his 3-point attempts. He's shooting 50% from 3 over his last 12 games, averaging 15.5 points, over 7 rebounds, shooting about 52% overall from the field, 50% from 3. You can't do much better than that.
He's got 9 already. He'll sit down. Grayson Allen is in for him. Emil Jefferson has come into the game for Matt Jones. So Jefferson into the 4 spot, 3 guards on the floor, and again a little pressure here just to slow down the advance of the Wolfpack.
And Quinn Cook taking Cat Barber, and he is face guarding him much like he did with Marcus Page when they played North Carolina.
Wide open is Anya. And the challenge is met by Okafor, who came up with a block.
That was a very physical play, which looked very much like a foul.
Cook knocks down a corner 3 and extends his own Duke record to 42 games in a row with at least 1 made 3.
Well, he's been a rock for this basketball team. He's hit over 83s on the season, had career numbers in every regard, every category. What a crossover.
Barber short on the jumper. Loose ball is out of bounds to NC State. Quinn Cook, of course, moving off the ball more this year with the freshman Tyus Jones coming to Duke, but has done it seemingly seamlessly. And Mike Krzyzewski has said often this year he's been a great player and he's been a better leader than he's been a player this year. Marshall Plumlee into the game for Okafor.
Duke still in that 2-3 zone, trying to communicate as to where shooters are and stick with them.
Turner. And Cook is called for the foul. That'll be his first. Cook, a guy who's been playing a ton of minutes, again with only 8 guys. Players such as Cook, Tyus Jones, Winslow at times are playing a ton of minutes for Duke.
And they don't seem to get tired. Knock free throws down at a high rate. Both excellent shooters. And one of the things that always gives you some concern is when you play that many minutes is picking up fouls. But Duke is this 2-3 zone gives them the opportunity to avoid foul trouble, especially with a guy like Jahlil Okafor going against a rotation of big guys that NC State can put in the game.
Cat Barber to the bench right now, so Lacey will do a lot of the ball handling. Caleb Martin into the game and instantly takes a shot, a little bit strong, and back come the Blue Devils.
Well, Martin can operate in the middle of that zone.
Allen with a drive, soft touch to knock it down.
Well, Grayson Allen has been so much more confident of late. Struggled earlier in the year at 27 points against Wake Forest. And Duke off to a great start against NC State.
When everyone talks about the depth of Duke, 8 is enough. And I like the way Mike Krzyzewski's developed his bench. Allen, the last 3 games, he had 7 against Carolina, 27 against Wake Forest. Marshall Plumlee gives him some toughness. And I think Emil Jefferson, he comes up the bench and makes winning plays. I like this 8-man rotation. Everyone embraces their roles.
They started with 10 scholarship players as Trevor Lacey knocks down a jumper for State. Shemi Ojale transferred out. Rashid Suleiman was dismissed 11 games ago, and Duke hasn't lost since. They're on an 11-game winning streak right now as Anya picks up a resounding block. And that'll take us to the under-12 media timeout here in Greensboro. Duke doubling up the Wolfpack early.
Getaway.
For a big win against a very good Notre Dame team to solidify its postseason resume.
Well, most of the teams that lost were on the outside already looking in. So I still think that Miami, if not, I think they have to win. But if they don't win, they had better play really, really well.
Plumlee, and a foul on Anya. And that'll be the second on B.J. Anya. That's going to complicate things for Mark Gottfried.
And that's a big play to get a foul on B.J. Anya. For Plumlee to use that little shot fake and get Anya off the floor and pick up his second foul. That's why Plumlee's in the game. Now he's putting Anya into some ball screens to move him around before they attack.
Allen, beautiful pass into Marshall Plumlee.
Just a great drive by Grayson Allen. That drive forced Anya to help up just a bit, and then the drop off to Plumlee for the dunk. Really well done. And right now, NC State on its heels a bit instead of attacking.
Lacey misses another three.
It disrupted the rhythm of North Carolina by putting a little trap with Emil Jefferson. What another great play by Grayson Allen.
This kid can play.
He is really, well, he's a great athlete and a tough kid.
Yep.
Got off to a slow start, as a lot of freshmen do, but well, he has really picked it up of late. He's got a great look on his face right now.
Well, he has benefited more probably than anybody else minutes-wise from the dismissal of Rashid Suleiman, and he's playing some terrific basketball right now. The lead is up to 15.
Is this the year you spend more quality time with your dog? The year fetch means more than chasing an old tennis ball. Is this the year for more than just a walk in the park? Then you belong at Bass Pro Shops Dog Days with huge savings, like new Micro Light Plus spinning combos for under $25. Save 20% on our most popular aluminum fish fryer. And bring in your dog this weekend for our free Dog Days family event.
Well, everybody's playing right now, playing well right now for the Blue Devils, and especially recently, Grayson Allen, both scoring the ball and dishing the ball, Jay.
Well, really important that Duke put B.J. Anya in a ball screen and then passed out of it. They reversed the ball, and a great drive by Grayson Allen. You can see Jahlil Okafor out of the game, sitting over on the bench while his team moves out the lead on NC State. And when you can put in your reserves, and not only do they hold the line, but they increase the lead, that's a luxury that not a lot of teams have.
Mark Gottfried leaves Anya in with 2 fouls. He brings Cat Barber back into the game.
It's a little 1-3-1 that Duke's putting on right now, and they're rotating out of it.
Abu misses the jumper, and the rebound to Cook. So we're seeing Mike Krzyzewski change his defense frequently here tonight, and you know as well as anybody, generally speaking, that hasn't happened, but there have been a lot of subtle and not so subtle defensive adjustments made by Coach K in the second half of the season.
Well, he's done a really good job of switching things up, and it's dependent upon the opponent. You know, we were talking before about how against North Carolina, he put on a little trap in the backcourt with Emil Jefferson, and that got the ball out of the hands of a ball handler into the hands of a big guy. And I didn't think North Carolina in the second half handled it particularly well. And in this game, he's thrown on that 2-2-1 three-quarter court press. NC State has seen that press before. It's not anything completely new, but the Wolfpack has not handled that pressure very well. It's really taken them out of their rhythm. It's made them play at a different speed, and that's affected them.
You know, when you're putting together a game plan, Jay, you know, you just got to decide what you're going to give, what you're going to take away. And what Mike Krzyzewski's done, he's decided to take away the perimeter game by changing his defense, extending his defense, and really doing a nice job of getting matched up out of that zone. And you know, how many times when you played for Coach D have that type of flexibility as opposed to how he would do it now?
Well, that's the thing, Seth, is he's got a team now that can execute it. You know how it is. A lot of coaches, you put your game plan in, it's not particularly well executed. Great plan, but the players don't do it the way you anticipate that. And What a great rebound in traffic by Emil Jefferson, and gave a little shot to Caleb Martin afterwards. But I'm not sure that you go to this and say, okay, that's a flagrant. It didn't look like it to me.
Mark Gottfried right away was asking the officials to have a look, and they are going to review. So there is a chance they could make us a flagrant one. It clearly appeared to be unintentional on the part of Jefferson, but if he got the elbow up above the shoulders and made contact with Caleb Martin's face, then there's a chance this will be a flagrant one.
Yeah, I think, and who knows, like I think these are incidental. It looked like he hit him with his head, not his elbow, and that's an incidental contact play. But we have seen flagrants called for less.
Yeah, you're right. It's the back of his head that hit him. Yeah.
For a guy who's thrown a lot of elbows, I know what an elbow looks like. That was a head tap, and when you catch one of those in the nose, it hurts just as bad as getting an elbow, but there is no way that is any kind of flagrant foul.
Brian Kersey, Ray Stions, the two officials overlooking at the monitor. And it looks like no call.
That was one heck of a rebound by Emil Jefferson. He was surrounded by red jerseys and came away with that ball.
Inbounds, lob, and slam for Plumlee. Well, they are executing beautifully.
They are executing beautifully, and NC State is not playing well at all. That was a very simple play. Duke runs the same out-of-bounds set. They run it out of the same set all the time so that you don't know what's coming based on the alignment. There are 4 or 5 things they can do out of that set, but the first thing you want to take away is that simple little screen for the lob.
And now a held ball. The arrow will keep it with NC State.
I mean, this is just a simple screen. Grayson Allen sets a little back screen, and Caleb Martin doesn't jump in there and bump that cutter. It's relatively easy to jump in front and disrupt the timing of that play. And it was beautifully executed. A great screen, just wasn't well defended by North Carolina State.
So Duke continues to get great work from its bench. Jefferson, Plumlee, and Allen. And as you said, they have extended the lead here. Lacey having to work so hard to try and free himself for a shot.
And Quinn Cook just not letting him breathe. He's not helping off at all.
Barber had to force it up. Shot clock running down. Caleb Martin, offensive rebound, no. Tap, no. And Barber's going to pull it back out. Abu drives around Plumlee. No basket. Foul before the shot.
Off that offensive rebound, it looked like Duke was essentially in man-to-man, just switching off.
Coach, what do you got?
You know, if Duke was playing man-to-man, NC State would be dictating a shot each and every time down the floor with the UCLA high post offense and the offenses and the options they run out of it. This matchup zone, whether it's 1-3-1, 3-2, or even some 2-3, it's basically dictating the shot or the lack of offensive flow for NC State. Have you ever seen a team that's so good offensively get taken out and basically look bewildered in the half court right now?
Well, and Seth, I mean, a lot of that is on NC State. I mean, this zone has certainly screwed them up, but they're an active participant in this. The shots they're taking are not good ones, and they have not attacked it off the dribble. I think half of it has to be on NC State for the way they've attacked it, and it has not been very aggressive or very smart.
Yeah, they're not moving people, they're not moving the ball, they're not getting the ball reversed, and they get no paint touches.
Yeah, they're just standing around taking a shot off of one pass. There's been no screening of the zone, nothing.
They keep getting offensive rebounds, though, and finally Abu will lay it in. They're winning time of possession, but they're losing badly on the scoreboard right now.
Yeah, see, North Carolina State's a much better offensive team than this. And while you give great credit for Duke to Duke for playing really good defense, this is not the first zone that NC State has seen all year long. And they've not reacted to it or handled it very well at all.
Mike Krzyzewski's gone back to his starters, including Okafor. And when Okafor came back in, Mark Gottfried put B.J. Anya back in, and he's got 2 fouls.
And one thing North Carolina State's not doing also is they're not getting the loose balls. They're getting beat to the ball.
Matt Jones from Tyus Jones.
And Matt Jones stayed deep in that corner When that skip pass came to him, he is ready to shoot. He does not have a high release, but he has worked on getting that shot off quicker.
Caleb Martin trying to spin on Winslow, and he lost it.
All he has to do is take it into a gap, draw a couple defenders, and then kick it out and let somebody else make a play.
Same spot for Matt Jones, and he is fouled by Anya.
That's not only 3 shots, but that's 3 fouls on Anya.
Nothing going well for NC State. Duke up large.
Hey there, Tiny. What beer we drinking?
I don't know, boys.
All Duke right now, 31-13. NC State is shooting 29%. B.J. Anya's got 3 fouls on the bench. Cat Barber, who did anything he wanted to do last night against Pittsburgh, has not been able to do anything at all tonight against Duke.
Well, Cat Barber, the ball's been out of his hands. That 2-2-1 3/4 court pressure has made him give the ball up. He's not breaking it on his own. The zone has made him give the ball up. And they've done a really, I think Duke's done a really nice job of staying with Trevor Lacey. You know, both he and Cat Barber, Lacey and Cat Barber, combined 1 of 10. You know, Quinn Cook, when he's been shading Lacey, has really kind of face guarded him. And right now he's out in front on Barber, and they're playing in a tandem out front, he and Tyus Jones.
Abu driving on Okafor, and a block is called on Okafor. That'll be his first.
And that's what NC State needs to do. Like, North Carolina State has not shot a free throw yet. And it's because they've been passive against this zone. They've not driven it into gaps. They've not tried to get body contact. Everything's been off of 1 pass. And they've settled for jump shots. They're 1 of 8 from 3. And none of their shots have come off penetration where they're kicking it out to an open shooter. It's really been, while this zone has been very, very good, the zone attack has been dreadful.
Abu left it short, down with a rebound, Winslow.
Tyus Jones has not scored a lot, but boy, is he assisted. What does he have, 5 assists? Well, Duke is controlling this game on their offensive end.
How tough is he? You know he's left-handed. You know he wants to go left, and you still can't stop him.
Well, because he's being guarded essentially by a 5-man. You know, Leonard Freeman's having to guard him out on the perimeter. So he's trying to take away a shot, and then he's got to take away a drive. And that's not his game. He's guarding big guys most of the time, not a guy who's going to be a 3-man in the NBA.
Turner knocks down a 3, the assist to Barber.
You get paint under your feet, and then you kick it out. That's a really good shot. And NC State needs to do more of that. And right now, Abu is guarding Winslow. And that's a matchup that Duke may be able to exploit as well.
Winslow into Okafor.
Good pass fake.
And Cook almost lost it, got it back, shot clock down to 6. Lost it, got it back again, forces it up, and hits it. Just as Coach K drew it up in the last timeout.
Well, how many deflections is NC State going to get and not come up with the ball? That's just an example of Duke being quicker to the ball. The ball is up for grabs. You know, a lot of coaches call these 50-50 balls. Hey, you know, Quinn Cook comes away with it. You know, ball up for grabs here. Quinn Cook comes away with it and knocks down a 3, which he has done all season long. He's got to be close to 93s now on the season.
I think it's exactly at 90 right now. 40% on the season, career highs in scoring, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, and free throw percentage for Quinn Cook. Lacey surrounded, another NC State turnover, but they will get the ball back. Championship week continues tomorrow here on ESPN. Big Ten quarterfinal action. Michigan blew out Illinois today. They'll take on the top seed of the conference, Wisconsin. Maybe still in a fight for a 1 seed, and then it's Purdue and Penn State. Penn State knocking off Iowa today. All a part of championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods.
I don't think that last #1 seed is sealed up for Villanova if Villanova wins the Big East. You know, I think Wisconsin and Arizona both still right there to grab 1 seed.
Even if Villanova wins the Big East, you're saying?
Yeah, even if they win the Big East.
Yeah.
I think that you can make as good, if not better, a better case for Wisconsin and Arizona being that 4th #1 seed rather than Villanova. Now, Villanova's had a great year, but I don't like the idea because of proximity of Wisconsin and Kentucky being in the same region.
I agree with you.
That doesn't make any sense to me, and I know the committee has to do it because they're not going to change their bracketing procedures, while they're in the middle of it. That obviously makes very good sense, but I don't like that at all.
To put the strongest number 2, arguably, where the strongest number 1 is, without question, seems like a miscarriage of justice for the number 2.
Especially when we have these things called airplanes now that get you where you need to go. We don't need to be, worried about an extra 10 miles here or there. You do the right thing to have a balanced national tournament.
Seth, who's your last number 1, and how do you feel about Wisconsin maybe being in the same bracket as Kentucky?
I'm really high on Wisconsin. I'd have moments as high as 3, and I look at it, who would I want to play if I was coaching? And Villanova's had a great year, and they're a terrific basketball team, but Wisconsin is an elite basketball team that has maybe one of the best front courts in all of college basketball. We talk about Kaminsky and Hayes and Decker. That is a big-time front court. They don't make mistakes. They don't turn it over. I've got Wisconsin as a solid number 1.
Well, we'll find out on Sunday how it all shakes out, whether or not the Badgers get a 1 or a 2, and whether or not they're in the same bracket with Kentucky. Tyus Jones, another assist, and you can see why Marshall Plumlee shooting 74% on the season. Now a turnover and a foul on NC State. This has been a disastrous night for the Wolfpack.
Duke is just cutting NC State up. I mean, that was a simple ball screen and roll to the basket. Tyus Jones drew 3 defenders on that drive and just lobbed it up. That looked like something that Kentucky would do, and just lobbed it up to Marshall Plumlee for about as easy a basket as you can get. And again, Dan, like this, Duke is doing a fabulous job, but that side ball screen is not something that NC State is seeing for the first time. The 2-3 zone with the tandem out front is not something that NC State is seeing for the first time. So you give Duke an enormous amount of credit because they are dominating this game. But you have to also say to NC State, wake up. I mean, this is not the way good teams play, and this is a good team that is not playing well at all.
And this is a good team that had won 6 of its last 7 coming in. A number of impressive wins as well. Another turnover. Allen has it rejected by Caleb Martin. Timeout on the floor. Duke in a runaway right now.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of
2-17 for Duke as we welcome you back to Greensboro. Time now to look at tonight's game-changing moment, brought to you by Degree Dry Sprays.
Well, let's take a look at how Duke is playing this zone. They don't care if the ball goes into the middle. Jahlil Okafor is not leaving the middle of the lane. He is parked down there, and they are staying with shooters. So when there's a drive into the middle, they are not collapsing. They are staying with shooters. If a guy like Ralston Turner or Trevor Lacey wants to take a tough 2 over a defender, so be it. They are not giving up threes, and this NC State team has not handled this defense very well at all. They played extraordinarily well versus Pittsburgh. Against Duke, they are not doing anything offensively. They have been totally taken out of rhythm, totally taken out of what they want to do. And they have contributed to this, in my judgment. I think NC State in the second half, well, in the last 3.5 minutes of the first half, but in the second half, they're going to have to get a lot tougher to get the shot they want.
They need their perimeter guys to score. Their big guys don't do a ton of scoring, and they're not getting that tonight, especially from the likes of Barber and Lacey. You saw that they combined for 55 points last night against Pittsburgh. They've got 2 tonight. Turner. And Turner's a guy who didn't shoot the ball well last night, but he is tonight. And he's got 13 of State's 20 points.
And that's just in transition where you have to find a shooter, whether man or zone. You have got to get out to Turner and to Lacey first. Good drive.
And Matt Jones will get the roll.
And gets style points for jumping over a defender. Well, he's really had a nice year.
Yep.
Such a good defender, brings a lot of energy, makes open shots. You know, one of the perfect glue guys you want.
Saved by Winslow. Outlet Plumlee. Jones slips. Appears to be okay. State fans wanted to travel. Roger Ayers saying Jones got rid of the ball before he slipped.
Well, he's saying he was bobbling it as he was falling down. So if you don't have control of the ball, by rule, you can't travel.
Fortunate not to have been shaken up on that play. Lob inside. Plumlee.
Duke's going to score 55 points in this first half. And this has just been a tail kicking of the highest order in the first 20 minutes. I did not see this one coming.
Especially the way State had been playing, the confidence they had from beating Duke back in January. They have not been in this game for a moment tonight.
Not one. And just throwing over the top. NC State going for every fake. And you can see after the ball goes through the basket, there's just an exasperation on the faces of the NC State Wolfpack. This has been one frustrating evening in Greensboro.
Plumlee 8 points, 4 for 4 from the field. I think at least 3 of them, maybe all 4 of them, have been dunks. But, you know, he's a guy, he's a redshirt junior, so a 4th-year junior. And a couple of years ago, you could have looked at him and said, I don't know if this guy's ever going to play very much. But he has really worked on his game. And to his credit, he knows exactly what he is. He does exactly what he needs to do to get his minutes on the court.
Well, he's a terrific athlete. He can really run. He's an excellent communicator. He talks on defense. And he's a big body that can really guard ball screens. So you can put him into the game, and he can do a good job getting out and hedging on ball screens.
He is very active. And this is, I believe, the 8th. Is this year 8 of the Plumlee era in Durham? I think from Miles to Mason to Marshall, I think this is 8 years in a row there has been at least one Plumlee on the Duke roster.
I don't know what Coach K is going to do without a Plumlee on the roster. I don't know. Again, another quote-unquote 50-50 ball that has been basically a 100-0 ball in Duke's favor in this game.
Allen, assist to Plumlee. 49-20.
It was one of those things where you walk up to the registration, you give your $100, and you get your clipboard and your T-shirt, because this has been a clinic, and Duke has put this clinic on for this viewing audience and everybody here in Greensboro. This has not been close. Not close. Everything has been contested. Shot blocked by Grayson Allen. If it weren't blocked by Allen, Plumlee was right there to block it. Everything off one pass for NC State. No ball movement, not moving the defense.
And Mark Gottfried screaming at his players, pass the ball. Allen behind the screen from Plumlee. And it belongs to Barber and State.
The entire energy level belongs to Duke. Very little energy on the part of NC State right now. There's no passes and a shot, one pass and a shot. No pressure on the defense.
Coming up 35 seconds from now, the Heroes Charge halftime report. Reese Davis, Jay Williams getting ready here to Greensboro. They'll show you the highlights, some analysis of North Carolina and Virginia advancing during the day session here in the ACC, plus a look at all the bubble teams in action today.
How about Jay Williams with the vest? Looks like Winston Churchill.
Seth Greenberg will be in with them as well. You cracked him up, Jay.
Usually when going over my career highlights, he laughs that hard.
And Mike Krzyzewski will use the use it or lose it timeout here at the end of the first half to try to get over the 50 mark. This is not something you could have seen coming.
No way.
This game.
No way.
Yeah.
I mean, what can a team do in the second half to overcome this kind of, to give a break to some of your starters, especially a guy like Jahlil Okafor, who doesn't have to play gigantic minutes in this ball game? That's a real luxury. This is a, if you wind up making it that long, this is a 3-day adventure here in Greensboro to win an ACC championship, and no player, Dan, on this Duke roster has won an ACC title of any kind.
Last time they won the conference tournament was 2011. Shot clock is off. They can hold for the last look of the first half.
And it's not just the last shot here, it's also the rebound. And NC State hasn't gotten many loose balls or rebounds.
Tyus Jones, 6 seconds. It'll be Allen from deep in the corner. And the first half will come to a close with Duke dominating and leading 49-22 as they look for a spot in the semifinals tomorrow night. What a performance by the Blue Devils. who are shooting 59% to just 30% for NC State. Let's go to Seth Greenberg with Mark Godfrey.
Mark, I know this is not fun. What's the first thing you're going to tell your kids in the locker room?
Well, we got to get our head up. We got to play. They're quicker than we are. They're moving the ball better than us. They're doing everything better than us. But I don't want our guys to hang their head. We got to chip away at it and come back and play a little bit harder and just chip away at some points. But we got to guard them. We haven't guarded them yet.
Offensive, is there anything you can do to get that ball moving, to get a better shot?
That's the thing. With the ball sticking in our hands, we're trying to do everything one-on-one. The ball's not moving. I'm not sure we could have played worse, but they played great. Give them credit. But we didn't play well, so we got to get ourselves regrouped.
Thank you.
All right, so thank you. Halftime here in Greensboro. State hanging. Much tell the story. Complete domination by Duke in the first half. Tonight's game track brought to you by Reebok Z-Pump. Just one turnover for Duke. They shot 59%. They played brilliantly, and North Carolina State, Jay, played about as poorly as they can play.
They did play poorly, and you give all the credit to Duke because the decisions that they made with their game plan of going with a 2-2-1 three-quarter court press to slow the advance and then going with that 2-3 zone, they basically just pre-positioned their help. Their big guy never had to leave the lane, and they're matching up with the 3 scoring guards for NC State and not worried about the big guy. So all of a sudden you've got your big protecting the paint solely, and then everybody else matching up on the perimeter with the guards.
Matt Jones will lay it in, and Duke picks up where they left off in the first half.
And sticking with the three-quarter court pressure. And again, it is getting the ball out of the hands of Cat Barber and completely slowing this advance.
Barber had 34 points last night against Pitt. He has 0 tonight. He's 0 for 7.
The wings are up. And now they're going, looks like they're going man-to-man late in the clock.
Lacey the lob, and nice little tap put in there by Leonard Freeman.
Just threw it right over the top of Jahlil Okafor.
Good balance for Duke. 6 players between 6 and 11 points in the first half. Abu. Okafor might have gotten a piece of it. Our second game tonight, Notre Dame and Miami. Notre Dame the 3 seed, Miami the 6 seed. The Hurricanes are a bubble team looking for a big win to boost their resume. We already know from earlier today that Virginia and North Carolina have advanced to the semis. Virginia beating Florida State 58-44. North Carolina a come-from-behind 10-point win over Louisville. Kennedy Meeks was back in there for the Tar Heels today. Bryce Johnson had 22 points today, 18 of them in the second half.
Played very well in the second half, and North Carolina really dominated the paint in the second half, something they didn't do in the first.
Winslow misses the 3.
Well, when Jahlil Okafor gets double teamed inside, he's such a good passer out of the post. In the first half, Duke knocked those shots down, also got some drives, and made that second pass out of the double team.
They leave Turner alone. He'll leave the 3 a little bit short. The rebound tapped out to Matt Jones.
Mark Godfrey told Seth Greenberg wanting to chip away at this lead. And in order to chip away, you got to make shots. And NC State, all energy has been taken away from them after that first half performance.
Cook with a lot of energy and a chance for 3.
What a burst of speed by Quinn Cook. And he's just had a great year. All ACC's second team. And his leadership has been really spectacular all season long. No longer the primary ball handling point guard. That's taken over by the freshman Tyus Jones. And just a great hesitation move off that ball screen. Let the big guy clear to go back to his assignment. And Duke going to keep on that three-quarter court pressure, and Cat Barber's been unable to solve it. And Quinn Cook, after Barber gives it up, he is not leaving it.
Abu will finish over Okafor. Mark Godfrey's message to his team before the game was, yeah, they've already beaten, NC State's already beaten Duke once. Think of the opportunity, how rare it is for a team to beat Duke twice in the same season. Think of the opportunity you've been presented with as Winslow misses the layup. But from the moment the game began, it was a mismatch.
This has never been a game. No, it's never been a game. And NC State is so much better than they have played. Now they've played poorly, and Duke has played great. I mean, this is as well as Duke has played of late, and they played very, very well after winning 11 in a row. And this is obviously 12 in a row, but I think every team at this time of year tries to look at things as they're 0-0.
Tyus Jones with a turnover. Lacey driving on Winslow, and he'll lay it in. NC State appears to be safely in the field. The latest bracketology from Joey Brackets has them as an 8 seed. You never want to leave anything to chance, but they appear to have enough quality wins and a very good strength of schedule as well that they are safely in the field. But obviously a win tonight would have boosted their seed.
You know, even if this loss were to drop them down a little bit, I'm not sure there's anything bad about being a 10 seed. That I'd rather be a 10 than an 8 or a 9, because that means you're playing a #1 seed in the second round.
Right. Here's their resume. The big win over Duke. They've won at Louisville, at Carolina as well, and out of conference wins that may not jump out at you, but it seems like Boise State and Richmond, good quality wins that they've had. They played a pretty tough schedule in November, December. Cook knocks down the 3.
What a player. Quinn Cook has been everything you want a senior to be. And it's not just been how he has played, it's been how he has led. You know, he's got 4 freshmen McDonald's All-Americans, and he has done a masterful job of leading.
Boy, Lacey just muscling his way out of a trap and finding a boo.
Boy, muscling is right. He just knocked Grayson Allen straight back, not once but twice. And NC State a lot stronger with the ball in the second half, but for this game it's too late.
Not sure we've had a whistle in the second half. We're almost 5 minutes in. Okafor no, tip no good, and Freeman down with a rebound. Lacey wide left. Wants a screen. Now goes the other way.
And driving into traffic, there was nowhere to go.
Barber hands it off, and Abu will finish.
Well, NC State trying to get into the lane and make a play. In the first half, they did not do that. Duke almost every time down after the made field goal, they're going to use some clock. They're certainly not stalling, but they're not in any hurry either.
Okafor just too easy. And Mike Krzyzewski will use a timeout. We went several minutes without a whistle here. Early in the second half, Duke by 26.
Well, Quinn Cook over his last 9 games averaging 21 points per game. And it's because of moves like that.
Not only have they coexisted, but Tyus Jones has actually made Quinn Cook better and vice versa. Cook's freed up to play without the ball. He runs the floor hard. He's a big-time jump shooter, and it opens up the floor for Okafor. So this is a dynamic backcourt. They have been effective defensively, and they're fun to watch.
Yeah, you have 2 point guards on the floor basically at all times. And you know, I think one of the great things about Quinn Cook this year is he's really allowed, I think allowed Tyus Jones to take over at the point and empowered him to lead as a freshman, and has accepted it. And the other thing is Tyus Jones has accepted the situation as well. And basically every adjustment that has been made this year by the Duke staff, the Duke coaching staff, the players have been open to. And I think it's been a really good year in that regard. I mean, this is the second time, only the second time since 1999 that Duke has won 28 games in the red. Oh, what a screen in the backcourt. Cat Barber totally taken out.
Emil Jefferson with a screen. That basket's going to count, and Barber is still down.
You know, that's up to a big guy to call that out. You got to be up there with your assignment. I mean, you leave your point guard to get just blasted by a screen. There was nothing dirty there, but that's the fault of the guy that's supposed to be guarding Emil Jefferson. You got to be there to call out that screen. I mean, he had no idea that was coming and just got laid out.
He is still down. We'll update Barber. You can see that statistically he is a long ways off the incredible night that he had last night. And now, Jay, if you will, adding injury to insult as he runs into an Emil Jefferson screen.
Yeah, every big guy has had this happen at one point in his career where you're not paying attention to your assignment in the backcourt. You just run up court to play defense, and you leave your point guard exposed to this kind of play. I think it was Malik Abu that was supposed to be up there, who was guarding Emil Jefferson. Now, obviously, the point guard that gets his bell rung feels a lot worse than you do. But as a big guy, when you leave your point guard exposed, that is not a very good feeling at all.
Cat Barber still with his head kind of in a towel. He's holding a towel, and he has his face in the towel looking down, and he was shaken up quite seriously by that screen from Jefferson.
Well, you hope there's no sort of concussion issue that comes from this kind of thing, because as careful, and rightfully so, as medical professionals are now with concussion issues, you can be out for a period of time with a concussion. He got his bell rung, but good on that. And then again, there was nothing dirty about that. That was just a simple backcourt screen that happens all the time in basketball. It's just, you know, the failure of one of Barber's teammates to be alert to that and call it out, because you can't see that screen coming behind you.
So Barber's still not doing so well over on the bench, as you can see, as Martin makes 1 of 2 free throws. And State with a little pressure just to try to shake things up here. Allen lobs it. Plumlee finishes.
And that's double figures in this game for Marshall Plumlee.
That's a career high for Marshall Plumlee.
He has been available, and whenever help has left him, help defense has left him, he's been the beneficiary of it.
And you can see, with some assistance, Cat Barber is making his way away from the court towards the locker room.
And you hate to see that.
Yep.
And this has been a rough night for everybody in red. Duke has played great. NC State has not played well at all. But there are good things for NC State past this ACC tournament. This will be an NCAA tournament team and capable of winning when they get there. But you have to have all 3 guards in order to do the kind of damage in the tournament that you're capable of.
Abu misses a pair. 63-35.
It's kind of a weird feeling in the building, isn't it?
Yeah.
That you know the teams have to run out the string, and you want your teams to continue to play hard, but you also want to be mindful. You don't want to get anybody hurt. Duke reset and use as much clock as they can.
Jones and Anya got a piece of that, got a finger on it, and here comes Martin. High arcing shot, too strong off the glass, tip no good. Anya gathers again. Jefferson got a piece, and finally Anya finishes. A great effort there by B.J. Anya.
You know, one of the things about this lead is Mike Krzyzewski can rest Jahlil Okafor. I'm not saying this is the last he'll be in. He may be back in the game, but he's not had to play big minutes in this one.
How about Grayson Allen flying in?
Allen is a big-time athlete. He won the dunk contest at the McDonald's All-America game. And now he's playing with a lot of aggressiveness. You know, he's not looking just to pick his spots. He's attacking. He's just got a totally different look on his face than he had earlier in the season.
Lacey throws it away, and that'll take us to a timeout.
The freshman from Jacksonville, Florida, gets a run in from the wing. Nobody puts a body on him, and he makes them pay. It's been Allen and Plumlee off the bench, putting up big numbers for Duke.
Zubin, thank you. Back here in Greensboro, all Duke, and of greater concern perhaps to NC State is the status of Cat Barber. Seth Greenberg, what's the latest?
Yeah, NC State trainer Ryan Holloman has taken Cat Barber to the back to meet with the doctors to check out his neck. Now, speaking with Rob Moxley, the assistant coach at NC State, Cat has had a couple of incidences where he's gotten hit and had some type of concussion type symptoms, so they're going to be very cautious with this, but they're doing some tests on him right now.
All right, Coach, thank you. Well, you hope for the best. If you weren't with us earlier, this is what happened as he ran into a clean screen from Emil Jefferson, and you can see kind of the left arm of Jefferson catching Barber, looks like on kind of on the jaw, maybe a little bit under the jaw, and he needed some assistance to get to the locker room.
Well, these concussions and concussion symptoms are scary things, and you hope for the best for that young man, because he's had a remarkable year, and he could have a remarkable NCAA tournament.
Ball is still loose, finally tied up. Oh no, it's out of bounds, I believe. Out of bounds off Duke, as Grayson Allen slid out of bounds, diving for the loose ball, so it'll go over to the Wolfpack.
Guys slipping all over the place right here. Tyus Jones comes in. Looks like, make the statement look like they're on skates. Everybody's slipping all over the place, but they're still going after the ball hard.
You know, we've seen a fair bit of that over the last couple of days here in Greensboro. Guys slipping on the court. Nearing the midway point of the second half of a game that Duke has dominated from the outset. They were up 49-22 at halftime. The winner will advance to the semifinals against the winner of the next game that we've got for you tonight. The 3-seed Notre Dame making its first appearance here in the ACC tournament, and the 6-seed Miami squarely on the bubble right now.
Duke sticking with this zone, and they're matching up out of it. Matt Jones all the way up on Trevor Lacey, and Duke they don't want to give up twos. They don't want to give up easy shots, but they would rather give up a 2 than a 3. It's going to be an awful lot of twos, and they're going to Duke's not going to stop scoring on their offensive end. That's an awful lot of ground to make up with twos for NC State.
Tyus Jones having an outstanding freshman season, has had some of his best games against some of Duke's toughest opponents. Third team All ACC, also a member of the ACC All Freshman team. Martin, and his twin brother Cody Martin into the game, got the rebound. So Caleb and Cody are both in the game at the same time right now for NC State.
One is a minute older, and I just can't remember which one.
It is Cody, I believe, who is a minute older. Number 15. Caleb, number 14, is the guy who gets a little bit more playing time for the Wolfpack. Also, Desmond Lee is into the game, 6'4" senior from Norfolk, Virginia. So Mark Gottfried going a little bit deeper into his bench with his 26-point deficit. Lee and Jones might have taken an elbow.
They took one to the chops, and Brian Kersey looking over to Mike Krzyzewski, asked him, I don't know if he's asking, do you want us to take a look at it? It looked like he took one right in the chops here.
Oh, the back of the head again.
Yeah, that's incidental contact.
Yeah, it's the second time in this game we've seen that kind of thing.
Duke just spreading the floor, using some clock, trying to shorten this game as much as possible. They still want to be aggressive, but they're not trying to go at the beginning of a shot clock. And when Jahlil Okafor gets single coverage, I don't know who can stop him. His touch is so good. It was an interesting debate as to who should have been player of the year in the Atlantic Coast Conference, whether Jaren Grant of Notre Dame or the freshman Jahlil Okafor of Duke. Okafor had a dominating year, but Grant made a great case as well. Led the league in assists, one of the top scorers, near the top of the league in steals.
And Grant and the Irish getting ready for their date with the Hurricanes. The voting wasn't even that close, and I agree with you. I think you could have made a case for either one of them being ACC Player of the Year.
Well, I think Okafor was the right call. He was the most dominant player in the league. The top offensive rebounder in the league. I think he finished third overall in rebounding. The top 3 in scoring. Led the league in field goal percentage. Just had a tremendous year. The first time a freshman's been named MVP Player of the Year in this league.
Plumlee again. 6 for 6. A career-high 12 points.
It's just about 6 for 6 lobs. And he has played above the rim on lobs all game long. And yet another assist for Tyus Jones.
And 7 assists for Tyus Jones tonight.
He might be named an honorary Plumlee brother.
Martin into Anya. And Plumlee with a block.
And Mike Krzyzewski extending his hand right now, saying, slow it up. No need to attack right here. Let's run some clock. And the goal here, the game is won. The goal here is to shorten this game and get out without anybody getting injured.
NC State worrying about the status of Cat Barber. We have not seen him come back to the bench. Cook with a floater, and the lead is 30 for Duke. Virginia, North Carolina advancing earlier today. Duke is going to move on along with either Notre Dame or Miami. We'll see the Irish and the Hurricanes about 20 minutes after the conclusion of this one here with the Coliseum.
Well, and if Notre Dame's able to get by Miami, 2 of the top 5 offensive teams in the country are going to be going against each other in the semifinal. And it's obviously a long way from happening because Notre Dame's got a very good Miami team in its way and a motivated Miami team that is trying to gain entry into the NCAA tournament field as an at-large.
The Irish and the Blue Devils split during the season. Notre Dame won the first game, a close game in South Bend, and then Duke blew out the Irish, beat them by 30 back in Durham. And there's a travel to take us to a timeout with 6:33 to go. The Plumlee parents are on hand, and they've got to be enjoying, Jay, what they've seen from their youngest son tonight.
Well, they've had 3 guys. They haven't, 3 sons. They haven't had to pay for college, and this is why.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by New York Life.
Your cards say that? What's in your wallet?
Zubin Mehenti in our college basketball studios. If Creighton wants to make the NCAA tournament, they're going to have to straight up win the Big East tournament. Down 6 at the half to Georgetown, but Austin Chapman from downtown, they're up 4 on the nationally ranked Hoyas. 7.5 minutes to play. Elsewhere over on ESPNU, Texas right now, according to Joe Lenardi, last 4 in, trying to hold on against the Cyclones. Dan.
All right, Zubin, thank you. Back here in Greensboro, 6.5 minutes to go, and it has been all Duke from the moment this game began. As Jay has mentioned a couple of times, a chance for Mike Krzyzewski to get a little bit of rest for some of his key players. They only go 8 deep in terms of scholarship players as Kyle Washington drops one in. And they've got another game tomorrow, and they hope another game on Saturday. So right now, Cook, Okafor, and Matt Jones are over on the bench.
Well, to be able to get quality minutes from Grayson Allen and Marshall Plumlee is important. You mentioned the rest that Jahlil Okafor is able to get. Quinn Cook now on the bench taking a little bit of a blow. It also just helps the confidence for Plumlee and Allen.
Offensive foul, Justice Winslow. As we take a look at tonight's Fresh Take, brought to you by Subway. And speaking of that bench, they only go 3 deep. Here are 2 of the guys off the bench who have really contributed tonight.
Well, 10 of 14 from the field, 21 points between Marshall Plumlee and Grayson Allen. Both of them coming into the game and contributing on both ends of the floor. They've both played very good defense and have both attacked. And Allen especially off the dribble, getting to the basket. And Plumlee, look, that was a very good help and recover by Marshall Plumlee.
And at the other end, a layup for Tyus Jones.
I think if he could, Mark Gottfried might signal over to the scorer's table, say, if you want to play running clock, no objection over here. I think both coaches just want to get out.
Yeah. What a difference a night makes for North Carolina State. They were so good last night. And Cat Barber was so good. And now not only are they struggling, he is injured right now at the back of the locker room. The NBA comes your way on ABC Sunday. It begins with NBA Countdown at 12:30 Eastern Time. Then at 1 o'clock Eastern, the Bulls and the Thunder, followed up by the Rockets and the Clippers. NBA on ABC.
You know, Dan, this is just one of those games. I don't think you even have to look at the tape very much if you're NC State. I know the coaches will, but I'm not sure you need to show it to the players that much. They played poorly. Nothing went right. Didn't handle some situations very well, but I think this is one you get back to work when you go to practice and get prepared for the NCAA tournament. Put this behind you. This is just one of those nights that nothing went right. Duke played great, and NC State wasn't prepared for the kind of fight that they were going to face, and wound up getting blown out.
Coach?
Yeah, I'd be shocked if Mark Gottfried even looks at this tape. And this tape has nothing to do with their preparation for the NCAA tournament. They've had a terrific season and won the games they had to win. This is in the rearview mirror. The way I know Mark Gottfried, a new season begins tomorrow morning, and that's the season for the NCAA tournament. And he's got to be feeling pretty good about his basketball team, except for the last 40 minutes.
Well, I agree. Now, I would look at the tape. I think the coaches are going to look at this tape and look at it closely, because there are always things that you can learn from your team when you see it. Now, whether you show it to your team is a totally different thing.
Inside the final 4 minutes, 75-51 Duke on their way to the semis against the winner of our next game, Miami and Notre Dame. Grayson Allen enjoying himself tonight. He's got 11, including that dunk of the baseline drive and feed from Tyus Jones. Knocked out of bounds by Cody Martin to take us to the timeout. Tyus Jones with great vision. He's got 8 assists tonight, and Grayson Allen making the most of an increased opportunity to play.
We've been thinking.
They'll be in the dance. Remember last year they won the Big 12 tournament. Can they advance with just 2 ticks to go? 67 apiece. Here's how it ended. Final 5 seconds. Monte Morris, who tied it with a 3, wins it at the buzzer. Hilton Magic indeed. Dan?
All right, Zubin, so you never know. We'll have to wait until Sunday, but the Cyclones breaking the hearts of the Longhorns and maybe bursting the bubble of the Longhorns. If you're a Miami fan, if you're getting ready for the Miami Notre Dame game, that game that you just saw is of interest to you, because that could damage the hopes of the Longhorns.
It was just more of the same for Texas, losing a lot of close games and playing really what was a great schedule. And Texas, I don't know if Joe Lunardi has changed anything or endeavored to change anything based upon that result in the Texas-Iowa State game. But Texas has played a monster schedule. The problem is they just haven't won enough games against it to feel secure. I think they were, what, 3-12 against the top 50 going into this game against Iowa State.
I'm sure Joe Lunardi will have an update at the end of the night, if not sooner. That last 4 in, first 4 out was before the conclusion of the Texas-Iowa State game that just finished. Miami squarely on the bubble as well. A chance to pick up a big win. Indiana, by the way, which is in the conversation there. They beat Northwestern earlier today.
Lunardi, this time of year for Lunardi is kind of like, it's kind of like he's a tax guy in April.
Yes. He doesn't sleep for about 2 months. I think Grayson Allen's going to get called for a foul. Well, once we know the field of 68 on Sunday, it's time for the bracketology special. You'll be up in the studio in Bristol along with all the other key players on the network. Sunday at 7 Eastern. ESPN bracketology special brought to you by Staples, giving you everything you need to help you fill out your bracket. Plumlee and Allen continuing to get a lot of minutes. Also into the game right now is Nick Pagliuca, one of the 2 walk-ons on the Duke roster, 6'3" sophomore from Weston, Mass.
His father Steve, one of the owners of the Boston Celtics.
I wonder if we'll see Sean Kelly. He's Ryan Kelly's younger brother. He's the other walk-on on the Duke roster. Now Jones getting ready to check back in. Kelly's still on the bench, so Winslow's out, Cook's out, Okafor's out. with this commanding lead. Allen, no. Plumlee goes flying in for the rebound in vain. And another foul on Grayson Allen.
You have to think, Dan, I mean, Kentucky is the #1 overall seed. Even if they lose in the SEC tournament, they're the number one overall seed. That's not changing. I happen to think that Duke and Virginia are about as solid as you can be for the next two #1 seeds. I think the only one seed that's up for grabs is that last one. And if it were my decision based on right now, I put Wisconsin in there. Like, I agree with Seth Greenberg. I think Wisconsin goes in there. And I think both Villanova and Arizona are in the conversation based upon what happens in the Big Ten tournament. I think Wisconsin is clearly one of the top 4 teams in the country, to me.
I agree with you, Jay. And you know, there's a lot of basketball to be played. Obviously, Wisconsin's got to win the Big Ten championship to solidify that position. But you know, as you look at their team, you know, would you want to play Wisconsin, a team that controls the tempo of the game, that makes shots, that now is defending at a higher level, and has a really tough matchup in Frank Kaminsky?
Well, anytime Seth Greenberg agrees with you, it makes you rethink your position.
It just shows you've been doing your research, fellas. You've been paying attention. It's only taken me 8 months.
I'll tell you some of the other big news coming out of Greensboro today. Not only did Virginia win, but Justin Anderson returned to the court for Virginia. Played about 12 minutes, I think, just a week after undergoing an appendectomy. So great to see him back, feeling better, and hopefully able to contribute for the Cavaliers down the stretch.
It was great to see him back because he's had such a great year, and 2 kind of strange injuries. Breaks his pinky and then has an appendectomy. And that's got to be as fast a return as you can have from an appendectomy. 1 week.
The Irish are ready. The Hurricanes are in the building as well. Notre Dame and Miami in our next quarterfinal. As Grayson Allen gets a nice ovation, he'll come out, and Will Jefferson will check back in.
How about Notre Dame's shoes? You're not going to get hit by a car in those things. If the lights go out, you just follow the Notre Dame guys out of the building. Remember a couple years ago, Notre Dame had those glow stick uniforms?
Yes.
Now they've got glow stick shoes.
He's got a matching shirt.
I'm guessing he's a Notre Dame fan.
What a season the Irish have had. They've had a great year, 26-5. They come in as the 3 seed.
One of the last times they won 26 games was 1974 when Digger Phelps was at the helm. They were 26-3 that year, if I recall correctly. And if I don't recall correctly, my phone will ring and it will be Digger Phelps telling me exactly what the record was.
And folks, he ain't kidding. It'll happen, and it'll happen fast. But a 9-second difference between the game clock and the shot clock. It has been just a completely dominant performance by Duke tonight.
Just a clinic. Yeah. It's been a clinic from the opening tap. This game has never been close. It has never been in doubt.
Lee can't finish, and the final few seconds will tick away. NC State will wait to see where they're seated and where they're going Sunday, and the Blue Devils will move on to the semifinals tomorrow night. 77-53, the Blue Devils win, and we bring you now tonight's players of the game, brought to you by Cree LED Lighting. And tough to really separate this whole group, Jay. They had such balance, and it was such a team effort tonight for the Blue Devils.
How wimpy. Make a decision, Dan Shulman. You can't give it to every player. Would have been Quinn Cook for me, but just a great team effort for Duke. Never a doubt.
Duke on to the semis. Virginia, North Carolina are there as well, and we'll find out who the 4th and final semifinalist is